Is Rainbow Six Siege dying? This is a question I read everywhere I go. Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere I go, people ask the question, is Siege dead? And I kind of want to look at why Siege isn't dead. So today I want to dive into Siege as a game. I want to talk about its balance, its community, how I feel about the game personally, and where I think things can be improved and where I think things are good where they are. So let's get right into it. My name is Blushan. Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about Rainbow Six Siege, how I feel about it, and where I feel the game will go from here. So to clarify for anyone who's watching this later on in time, maybe a time where a new season might be released, I'm currently recording this as of, generally speaking, we're probably about halfway through Operation High Caliber. We just recently got Thorn, a new defender with Razor Blooms, which are virtually pointless, but you know what, we move. And I've got to say that having played a lot of Siege recently, I can kind of appreciate a little more where this game falls short and where it excels. Firstly, I want to talk about its shortcomings, and I will talk about what makes this game good. Don't worry, this isn't a negative video at all. Trust me, it'll be a lot more positive than negative, but I do want to bring up the negatives because I want to make this an honest, real video. So, I want to start with the negatives first, and the massive negative everyone brings up with Siege, which is totally accurate, is the fanbase sucks. Siege's fanbase is just full of a bunch of really egotistical people who feel that the game should be tuned to their liking. And I will raise my hands here and I will say that I am absolutely one of these people. I whine about this game's balance all the time. But this community just seems to be full of a bunch of angry, molding people who feel that every single nerf made to their main is a dedicated attack on them. Now, I won't lie, I was a little hurt when they took away Sledge's SMG-11, which makes playing a shotgun slightly less viable, but I still use the shotgun because I know fine well that I wouldn't be able to hit people as well with the SMG-11 as I can with the pistol, which is horrifically, but that doesn't matter. So, you know, we can't take the balance in our stride. And I feel like there's a lot of people who don't understand that this is predominantly and firstly a competitive game. They always complain, oh, Ubisoft are only balancing towards Pro League. And my response to that is yes, of course they're only balancing towards Pro League, or in some cases are predominantly balancing towards Pro League, because this is a competitive game. The Pro League is one of the best parts about this game, is that the competitive scene is so alive, and I love it. There seems to be a very vocal majority of this game's player base who seem to be entirely against any form of balance that benefits the competitive side of this game, and they basically just want buffs to their mains and to general operators who are good and casual. I think overall this game's balance is okay. Now, it's obviously not perfect. I'm gonna voice my hot take here. I think Apex is worse balanced than this game because EA, unlike Ubisoft to some degree, kind of take this like the Ivan Drago approach to balancing, where they will just crush a character under an overwhelmingly massive, like, wrecking ball of nerfs just to kill a meta, and in the process kill an entire character and their player base. Siege doesn't quite do this as frequently, so in that sense I suppose they're not as bad as EA. Now, obviously Ubisoft has done some pretty egregious stuff to the poor fan base. The repeated nerfs to Twitch just feel like a targeted attack to all of the mum's basement living GPU hoarding people who actually play Twitch. That's besides the point, because generally speaking, the balance is pretty good. For example, look at the recent buffs to Fuse in particular. Got a really small like quality of life change that made the operator way more viable. He's a lot more usable in a competitive sense, and even in a casual sense, he's become a lot more entertaining to play. So yeah, the player base is pretty bad, and I'm in no way making like this is just a joking, somewhat like satire blanket statement, but I will say that there are absolutely a large majority of people who tend to whine about this game's balance. And again, I'm one of them, and I'm not saying that all players are like this. A lot of the Siege community is quite level-headed, but it just seems like the less level-headed of us tend to be extremely vocal about their positions. And obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion, but when your opinion is just screaming at the devs for nerfing Blackbeard for the millionth time, you've got some problems. Also, Blackbeard should have been nerfed, and I'm not going to argue with people on that one. Let's move on. I think the only other massive issue Siege has, really for me, is kind of in relation to what I've been saying, where the balance is a little iffy. There's just been some really bizarre balancing choices, particularly in relation to guns and scopes. People seem to think, or Ubisoft in particular seem to think, that taking a scope off an operator makes them completely unviable. Oh no, I've lost to 1.5 times, guess I won't play this operator anymore. Scope's obviously mad. And I'm not saying that they don't matter, they absolutely do. But if you want to nerf an operator, going first for their optics is a really stupid way of going about it. Look at the gadget first, their utility, the way what they offer to a composition, not just, oh, weapon, AK-12 bad, must nerf. You know, it's not really a good philosophy, particularly for balancing a predominantly competitive game. Okay, that's all my bad things to say about Siege. The balance is inconsistent at best, and the player base is trash. Let's move on to the good things. I think the first massive pro for Siege is that it is a competitive game, and when you play it competitively with a bunch of competent friends, this is unlike anything I've ever played. It's a really enjoyable experience. Even playing with incompetent friends is fun, and I'm usually that incompetent friend, but it's fun and I enjoy myself, and everyone enjoys themselves. I think Siege, while it isn't as welcoming to new players as you might want a game to be, it's obviously not as like daunting as something like Dota 2 or something where it's like hours upon hours just to grasp the game. Siege you can understand probably within about 5 or so games. I think you can get a pretty good grasp of the game. Obviously there's things like memorizing maps, and I will never ever get over the fact that those stairs in Oregon, somewhere around the back of the map, don't actually lead to the upstairs. That's one of the most upsetting experiences I keep having. Siege has a really diverse map pool and a really great cast of characters. All the characters are unique in their own way. They all bring their own tools and gadgets to the table that can all be used in really unique and different ways. For example, you could take Thermite, who can breach through hard walls. You can take Hibana, who also breaches through hard walls, but slightly worse, more useful for breaching through hatches. You can take an Ace, who also breaches through hard walls, but this time he uses it by the power of H2O. You could take a Fuse, who is purely scummy. You can take Blackbeard, he's even more scummy. You can take Twitch, who's a pain in the backside. You can take Mute, who like pretty much nullifies everything I just said, because the fact that apparently big, massive thing that burns through a wall can be nullified by a Wi-Fi router. I don't get that one. I get the Ace and the Hibana, but less so Thermites. Can't you just go up and press the thing? Actually, wait, no, that's a really bad idea. Probably get himself killed. Besides, Another great thing Siege has going for it is a thriving competitive scene. Siege's Pro League scene is really entertaining. There's a lot of very talented players. There's a lot of very smart people in Pro League, and a lot of them tend to lend their information to doofuses like me, who are still to understand cam placements and stuff. And surprisingly got a really fun casual mode. Quick Match is just a great game mode to waffle in. And yeah, sure, there's hackers every once in a while, but you know what? It's better than Call of Duty to some degree. And I love just playing casual Siege, because I can just pull out my shotgun, run into sight with my frag grenades in one hand and my shotgun in the other, and realistically probably die, but occasionally get 1 or 2 kills, use it for a YouTube video and get 12 views. And a lot of people say, oh, Siege is too serious a game, you know, there's no enough casual helping it. Like, you know, it's too daunting for new players. And to that I say, well, yeah, get good at the game. No, to that I say, yeah, it's a difficult game to learn. That's it, yeah, you've got a point there. It's an absolutely valid point, but at the same time, you kind of know what you're getting into. I feel personally, and this is just for me, I feel that the good aspects of the game far outweigh the negatives, and for all the things I've said in this video about how bad this game can be at times, it's just a fun experience overall, okay? I love Siege to death. It's an amazing game. I've funneled probably about 100 hours into it. That's not that much in the grand scheme of things, but to me it's quite a lot. And, you know, in the end, this game will die sooner rather than later. Whether it reaches the end of its lifespan is a debate for a different time and for another video. But I personally find that Siege isn't dying per se. It's people who claim that it's dying. It's obviously not got the same huge amount of players as some other games. It does have its own very tight-knit, very testosterone-fueled community who are all absolutely off their rocker. But, you know what? As obnoxious as we can all be, I think it's kind of like family. You know, there's the hackers, there's the weird uncle who plays Doc for whatever reason religiously every round with a P90. There's the dad who plays Thermite, there's the mom who plays Thatcher, there's the crackhead's son who for whatever reason decides that it's an extremely viable idea to exclusively main Warden. You know, there's all kinds of people in this game, and I think that's part of what makes it just a fun experience to play. And you know what? I would recommend anyone to pick up Siege. I honestly would. It's a tough game to pick up at first, but if I can pick it up, anyone can pick it up, because I'm an idiot. So overall, I think we should appreciate Siege while we still have it, and we should make the absolute most of it, because it won't always be here. I love this game to death, and you know what? In the end, so what if it's got bad balance and a toxic community, because I still love it. That's going to do me for today. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any thoughts of your own, leave them in the comments below. I might do more videos like this, kind of talking about more general topics. I'll see. It depends how I'm feeling. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm bullish on you wasting your time, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you, and goodbye.